So good afternoon. This is a very important subject, and it's happening, I think, at a critical time. And this is a very different period than we've experienced. We have to do something about it. We now have to do something. We have to act. We can't wait and play games and nothing gets done. And I really believe that the people, this is bipartisan, it's a bipartisan meeting, and we're going to discuss safe schools, and we can really get there, but we have to do it. We don't want to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and people sort of forget, and then we go back on, and then we have another problem. We want to stop the problems from having. So as we continue to mourn the loss of so many precious young lives in Parkland, Florida, we're determined to turn our grief into action. I really believe that. I think that the people at this table want it. I mean, I see some folks that don't say nice things about me, and that's okay. Because if you turn that into this energy, I'll love you. I don't care. We're gonna be able to do it. Sadly, these horrible mass shootings are nothing new. I asked for just a list of, you look at Columbine, Colorado, Bill Clinton was president. Virginia Tech, George Bush. Fort Hood, Sandy Hook, San Bernardino, Pulse nightclub, and so many more. It's ridiculous. So today we're here in a bipartisan fashion to show leadership in an effort to end this senseless violence. It can be ended, and it will be ended. First, we must harden our schools against attack. These include allowing people with a certified training, very talented people, to carry firearms. And some people are going to disagree with that, and I understand that. I fully understand that. And if you do, I want you to speak up today, and we'll listen. But 98% of all mass shootings in the United States since 1950 have taken place in gun-free zones, where guns were not inside the school, or, as an example, you take Pulse nightclub. If you had one person in that room that could carry a gun and knew how to use it, it wouldn't have happened, or certainly not to the extent it did, where he was just in there shooting and shooting and shooting, and they were defenseless. So just remember that. 98% of all mass public shootings in the United States since 1950 have taken place in gun-free zones. It's terrible. You've got to have defense, too. You can't just be sitting ducks, and that's exactly what we've allowed people in these buildings and schools to be. Second, we have to confront mental health. There's never been a case that I've ever seen, I'm sure everybody would feel the same, where mental health was so obviously 39 different red flags. I mean, everybody was seeing them. The local police, the state police, the FBI, everybody was seeing that this guy was sick and nothing happened. Third, we have to ensure that when students, educators, family, neighbors, that when they warn authorities, that the authorities act quickly and decisively, unlike what took place in Florida, which was horrible. Fourth, we have to pursue common sense measures that protect the rights of law-abiding Americans while keeping guns. And we have to keep the guns out of the hands of those that pose the threat. And this really includes background checks. And I know, Senator, that you're working on things. Joe, I know you're working, and I'm looking at a number of the folks around the table. You're working on different bills. We have to get them. We have to get them done. We have to get them done, and they have to be strong. The background checks. Hey, look, I'm the biggest fan of the Second Amendment. Many of you are. I'm a big fan of the NRA, but I had lunch with them, with Wayne and Chris and David, on Sunday, and said, "It's time. We got to stop this nonsense. It's time." So we've made suggestions to many of you, and I think you're going to put a lot of those suggestions in. Plus, you're going to have your own ideas. Certain ideas sound good, but they're not good. You know, you can harden the site to a level that nobody can get in. The problem is if the shooter's inside and if he gets in the door and closes the door, we can't get people in. It's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars all over the country, and we'll have nice hard sites. The door closes, and now we can't get in.